My name is Justin Toit. I'm a clinical hematologist at the Witwatersrand Gordon, and I'm just here today to kind of explain to you roughly what paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria is. Firstly, Tawanda has this particular condition, and I'll just explain to you what it all means and why he actually needs a bone marrow transplant. You've got these hematopoietic stem cells, and this is in a normal situation where you've got these small little anchors, we call them GPI, and they link to certain proteins, which is called CD55 or CD59, and their normal function on this cell is basically to protect it from complement activation. So complement activation is a part of your immune system which actually is there to protect you against bacteria and viruses and so forth. But in your natural state, you've got these proteins that protect your own cells against this activation. In PNH, what happens is that you've got a lack of the CD55 and CD59 proteins, and therefore you have no protection against these complement activation. And that actually means that the complement can bind these particular hematopoietic stem cells and lead to the sequelae of PNH. Your red blood cells are not protected against this particular complement activation, and because it's not protected by these particular proteins, then they lead to the red cells being broken down in the body, and it actually leads to hemoglobinuria. Now, the consequence of the hemoglobinuria is that it can lead to kidney problems or kidney failure, and sometimes even lung problem, which we call pulmonary hypertension. And as a consequence of this particular disease as well, which is very common, is thrombosis, which means blood clots. The thing about this disease is it's not very common. It's like 1 to 10 per million people that gets affected. Now, the treatment for this is usually, in South Africa, they actually treat with cortisone, but it mostly is not responsive to cortisone. So the next thing that we can actually do is a bone marrow transplant. If you do that, then you'll have functional hematopoietic stem cells, and you won't have this problem of hemolysis and thrombosis, etc.